for His kingdom, to want it to grow and increase, to search for the truth, never ceasing, to look for a star in the night, to knock at the door, never tiring, to wait eagerly for His light, to follow the Lord and find freedom, to love as He loved and bring peace, to spend our lifetime for His kingdom, to want it to grow and increase, to walk hand in hand with each other, to share with the burden their pain, to comfort the people who suffer, to help those in need for no gain, to follow the Lord and find freedom, to love as He loved and bring peace, to spend our lifetime for His kingdom, to want it to grow and increase.
Yes, to follow the Lord in all sincerity and simplicity and find freedom and joy is the hallmark of this modest man, as I know him for the last 33 years. The greatness of this man is perhaps his simplicity in his approach both to the humans and the divine.
Then I was calling you. Oh, thank you, young lady. Shukriya.
He's like a father and a mother. And I can be as I am in His presence. He has deep faith in God, depth and simplicity. He has a gift to empower persons and to bring healing and meaning into their lives.
Well, the best way that I could describe Father Felix is from his name, which I think is very apt and suitable to him, as it means happy and joy.
This is reflected in the joy that he radiates in our community, be it in the chapel or on the dining table or even on the corridors. In short, he is an embodiment of cheerfulness and prayer.
I feel very proud to say today that he has incarnated himself into the Indian soil so well that he is more an Indian than an American. The greatness that I find in him uppermost is that he's a person who is deeply committed to bring joy and cheer in the lives of people that he meets.
He's a person who is really young in approach to the youngsters and old in approach to the older people. I see him as a person who can really inspire anyone, young and old alike. When he goes out of this community, I really feel his absence. When he comes back, automatically a joy and cheerfulness prevails in the community.
His presence and his dealings with the young and old, insider and outsider, men and women have been one that radiates joy and peace and genuine fellowship. He avers that he is genuinely happy with what he is at this age of life. Joy for him is a basic quality one ought to cultivate. This joy, he believes, proceeds from the gift of peace which Jesus himself gives to his followers. Peace I give to you.
The peace of Jesus. I like in the Mass, the canon of the Mass, priest said, or the little prayer on peace. Jesus said, my peace I give you. I give it to you. What? My peace. Peace of Jesus. I mean, it really touches.
Congratulations to you. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to you, dear father. Congratulations to you.
Once a woman rang up to Father Eckerman. Her husband happened to be an alcoholic. The same woman. And she knew only Hindi. She called the father. Father went to the phone. And she said, मेरा आदमी दारू पीता है, रोज मुझसे झगड़ा करता है, मुझे और बच्चों को मारता है. So when she narrated that one, she started weeping over the phone. Then father listened to her patiently. He wanted to comfort her. So he replied in Hindi, तुम रोड़े हो, तुम चिंता नहीं कर, मैं उधर आता हूँ, मैं उधर आके उसको बताता हूँ. In short, what he said was, तुम रोड़े हो, मैं आता हूँ, मैं आके बताता हूँ.
Father Eckerman is also a very humorous person. He can laugh at himself, he can make others laugh at himself. This is what I really appreciate. When you look at Father Eckerman, go in his presence, there's a kind of warmth in him, which he expresses through his words and his gestures.
Father Eckerman has great capacity for laughter. He would like very much to start a ministry for clowning, which I think is a marvelous ministry. I would love to see him started. I'd love to see him started in the seminary. The seminarians need ministries like that for clowning. In fact, we all need that, need the ability to laugh and things like that. 15 minutes of clowning a day surely will keep the doctors away.
From the cowboy country of Colorado in the USA to the cultural capital of Maharashtra, Pune, the journey had been long and arduous for Father Felix Eckerman. This journey of life, which took him across the oceans and time zones, is now crossing another landmark, the golden jubilee of his priestly ordination. Soon after his birth in the year 1920, the family of Eckerman left Colorado and moved to the more genial surroundings of the state of Ohio. As the eldest child of his parents' 7 children, Felix was deeply attached to his family. Yet not even such profound attachment to the family could stop him from responding to God's call. That call came to him, mediated through his mother's nurturing care and Christian witnessing. At the age of 14, he left home to pursue his dream of priesthood and joined the minor seminary. The waves raised by that heartwarming experience continue to make ripples in the mind even after 50 years. The memories of that day are still fresh in his mind.
I can, very clear to me is not so much what happened at the altar, but when the family got together. Not the whole family, and one of the pictures is on my collage that I made here, where my nun sister just got out of the novitiate at that time. So she was allowed to come, and so she was there also. The whole family, we were together and hadn't been together for a long time.
After a year, during the customary 6 weeks of home leave for the newly ordained, the news of his mission appointment to India was conveyed to him.
Atha swagatam
Shubha swagatam
Atha swagatam
Shubha swagatam
Ananda mangala mangalam Ananda mangala mangalam Hita priyam Bharata Bharatam
Hita priyam Bharata Bharatam
Swagatam
Shubha swagatam
Atha swagatam
Shubha swagatam.
Images of tigers roaming all around and snakes crawling in and out of the living rooms were constantly looming before the mind's eye. After much preparation, finally he landed in India in November 1948 along with his classmate and friend Father Jerome Ziliak.
Yeah, we landed there very early in the morning, Bombay, about 3 o'clock in the morning. And where the heck to go, Ziliak and I. So we ended up at some hotel someplace. And it was a funny feeling, like everything was smoky. And I still remember the breakfast we had. That strikes me, breakfast. I thought, it's the first time, I had never eaten papaya before, no? First time. So the part of the breakfast was a big slice of papaya. I said, my gosh, this thing is rotten. We knew muskmelon, but we thought it would be muskmelon. That's what I remember.
After spending a few days in the company of Father George Prox, who in those days was slowly building up the parish community of St. Teresa's Bandra, Felix, along with Father Ziliak, was sent to Indore.
अपने गाम धर्म करो आयो फादर बाबो
अपने गाम धर्म करो आयो फादर बाबो अपने गाम धर्म करो आयो फादर बाबो
वेला थाओ वेगा वेगा आयो फादर बाबो
वेला थाओ वेगा वेगा आयो फादर बाबो वेला थाओ वेगा वेगा आयो फादर बाबो.
This is the mission of the Bilalas. Felix eventually found his way to the mission station Baruani. Under the guidance of an all-time great missionary, Father William Wilner, a German SVD, he was initiated to the mission work among the Bilalas.
Even till now, I would say one of our best missionaries was Wilner in our whole mission. I liked his... He was very personal. He was, loving the people. He knew all those Bilalas. It was like an underground church at that time, and he knew them by name. And his approach is house to house, goes to the village, and the approach of these people is you go there. You're welcomed. You sit on the pollen and you talk about farming. You just met the people with their needs, with their problems, what's happening, and they might talk about other things, Then we might touch on spirituality, on religion too. That's why I have a high regard for Wilner's approach, which I think is missing in our Andhra mission. That part, the catechist there is a sacristan, but they were really, contact with the people. They really did the work, the spade work and all. Only when everybody was ready and so on, then the priest did the baptizing. So the real mission work, I would say, apart from the personal contacts we would make, and we kept personal contact. That's why I respect Wilner a lot.
Days spent in the company of Father Wilner and in close contact with the people of the place have left indelible impressions in the mind of Felix even today. A new phase in the ministry of Felix. His life in the Bilala mission came to a close as he was appointed as novice master in Khurda, which came to him as a surprise. For the following 12 years, the life was hard and ascetical, both for the novices and the novice master. The setting of Khurda was crude and primitive. There were snakes and scorpions all over the place. There was no electricity, no finished building. There were a large number of novices for a 2-year period.
When we had a lot of novices, those years we had two years novitiate. So we would have like 40 and 45, like this, big groups. And I reflect back on it. I know I didn't do my job properly, meaning it was impossible to do, keep contact with, with everybody, real personal. We were only two. There's another 2 priests. There was an assistant, was confessor, professor, procurator. It was all of that, whoever it was. And besides that, for some years too, I was parish priest of Khurda village.
Felix had further surprises in store. Soon he would be appointed as the rector of the Divine Word Seminary at Pune. It was for Felix adopting an entirely new attitude to the men in formation. The students were not anymore the meek, pliable novices of Khurda, but the grown-ups plagued by the post-Vatican renewal programs and seminary formation.
As a person who has lived through so many years and has seen changes, I find him as a person who has assimilated and personalized, internalized the best of all the changes that have taken place, both in the secular society as well as in the church, in psychology, in theology, in spirituality.
He served only 1 term as rector. He was asked to continue for another term, but he declined the offer politely. He convinced the superiors that it was time to pass on the baton to the Indian confreres. When the superiors accepted his reasoning, he quietly slipped on the new role as spiritual director.
Find your balance, find your way, find your spirituality.
Yeah, but I think when we are young, we tend to be more radical, or we don't see the real meaning behind it.
Well, that is there.
Yeah.
For Felix, working towards becoming a whole person and a holy person and helping others advance in that direction has always remained the preferred field of activity.
It's been very easy to ask him to help me out when I'm in doubt about something, and he always manages to do that. And he's guided me not just in those respects, but also in a lot of spiritual ways. He has been close to me, and even closer since Miss Roberts died. And I think that in every sense of the word, he is very truly a father to me, and I love him very much.
He is a gentle person, and that reminds me that the Holy Spirit is always gentle. And Father Eckerman has something of that gentleness, love, care, concern. And so personally as Bishop, I'm very happy to have Father Eckerman here in the city of Pune, and I'm very glad that he is such a great asset to us, not only in the SVD house where naturally he ministers to the priests and the scholastics, but to the whole church here in the city of Pune and even outside.
When I was sick 6 years back with my brain stain stroke, and the second time after 3 years with cancer, Father Eckerman used to visit me regularly, used to tell me, phone to me anytime when you need me. It appeared as though he has no other job and he has no other person on this earth to care for.
Just about a half century of life in India, the country of his adoption, has been one long streak of a learning experience.
I believe personally myself, I have gained. I'm happy to have been here so many years, and for my own spirituality, my own following of Christ, more genuine, more authentic. I've gained a lot from the Indian approach.
He lives the charism of internationality best. It's evident from the fact that he is the most loved confrere in India, to whom people turn in times of conflict, tension, or when in need of guidance.
He said, Lhasa, look, there isn't any rationalization with friendship. You have to be very personal and also emotional. That was a starting and a turning point in my life of friendship. Even today, he comes over to me like a person who can really understand and never swayed away by any personal influence.
That is, compassionate attitude is something which I was always attracted to. That is, he feels with you, our problems becomes his problem when we share with him, when we talk with him. So much so that we feel like going to him again and again.
I have seen Father Eckerman listening to a person who is broken in spirit and listening so deeply with such intensity that he weeps. The capacity for tears is a great capacity, and very few people have it, and very few priests have it. I've seldom seen priests getting so moved by listening to somebody that they can weep. And so this is a great capacity. And thinking about that, I'm thinking also that how often Jesus wept. In the gospel, he wept.
He gets this power from his Lord and Master, Jesus, whom he encounters in silence, in solitude, and in deep contemplative prayer. He can smile, he can laugh, he can weep, he can relate. He washes his clothes and cleans his room. He can pray. This is the joy of being Felix.